Did you know that the number of variations in a deck of cards is 52 factorial? That's 52 times 51 times 50, all the way down until you get to 8 with 67 zeros behind it. That's more atoms that exist in the world. Hi, I'm Dan Gugliotti. I'm a leadership coach and I make content for new managers just like you. And today I want to give my top 5 tips for new leaders in their first 90 days. So what does a deck of cards have to do with leadership? Well, if you look at one card as one direct report of yours, and you put that together and you form an entire team, in this case, 52, that's how many different ways you can contribute and make an impact to your team. Maybe that number is not quite the number of atoms in the world, but there are a lot of ways that you can contribute to your team, make an impact, and empower and hold your team accountable. My aim is to break this down into smaller chunks so that at least I can help you from a treetops level and hopefully on a day-to-day cadence. So that said, let's not try to boil the ocean. Let's take this in smaller bite-sized pieces. Today, let's just simply go over the top 5 tips that I have in your first 90 days as a leader. Number 1, give yourself grace. Like we said, there's a lot of different scenarios that might pop up even on day 1. You're not expected to handle all of them. You're not expected to be an expert right this second at being a leader. However, if you give yourself grace, ask a lot of questions, and try to figure out what your team is accomplishing and what they expect from you, your first few days are going to go a lot easier than if you try to take on every single issue and put out every single fire yourself. Number 2, like we just said, you're not expected to be an expert at all things on day 1. In fact, you may not be expected to be an expert in everything ever. What do I mean by that? Well, as a leader and as a manager, your job is to empower other people to know those things and other people to execute on those things. So if you focus on empowering the experts, that's going to go a long way, especially in your first 90 days. Number 3, it's quite possible you're taking over a leadership role or a manager role from another manager who may have moved on, been promoted, or otherwise. The greatest gift that I got in my first day as a leader was someone told me, don't try to be the person in this role before. They had different skills. They had different approaches. They had different philosophies. And if you try to be a clone of that person, you're likely going to fail because you're not that person. You're you. Don't be them. Be you. Number 4, delegate. When tasks come up, when fires need to put out, you likely have an expert on your team that can handle that. And the way to build trust is to delegate to them. Show them that you trust them to take care of it. In some cases, you have to handle things, of course. One of my favorite terms in business and in leadership is, it's not my monkey. If it's not your monkey, delegate. Number 5, find your style. You may not know what this means yet, and that's okay. And that's not me gatekeeping. That is me simply calling out your style may be something so elusive, and frankly, understanding what a style is as a leader is a little intimidating. Does that mean I have to carry myself a certain way? Do I have to speak a certain way? Do I have to look a certain way? Maybe. But whatever feels comfortable to you is your style. And as a heads up, it could take you a full year or longer to find your style. Again, how you handle certain scenarios, certain aspects of the role, certain challenges, how you empower, how you think about things, how you want things done. Those don't come to you on day 1. Those come to you with experience. And as you go through those experiences, you'll learn what your style is. Again, go back to number 1. Give yourself grace. If you give yourself grace, you might just learn your style. So remember, leadership is not quite as intimidating as knowing all of the different ways that you can contribute, meaning all the atoms in the world or different ways you can shuffle a deck. However, there are a lot of ways. Give yourself grace. Understand that this is more of a marathon than it is a sprint. No one is expecting you to save the world on day 1. These are just 5 of my top tips. There are dozens of different ways people have gotten through their first 90 days successfully. So subscribe to this channel and drop a comment below what your favorite tip is. See you next time. Thanks for watching.